And we're going to begin by taking child's pose. So when you're ready to do so, bring yourselves down to your hands and your knees. Place your knees about as wide as your yoga mat.
Do that.
And bring your big toes to touch behind you. Arms are stretched out long in front of you. Palms are facing down. Forehead resting upon the mat. Hips are reaching back towards your heels. And if you can, first and foremost today as you arrive on your yoga mat, is see if you can allow your body as well as your mind to just kind of settle. Settling in physically upon your yoga mat. And also starting to settle in and to zero in on a little bit deeper breathing. So over the course of the next 5 or 6 breaths, lengthen out the inhales and the exhales. Bring a little extra focus to your breathing. And really just think about breathing with a sense of purpose. Most of the time throughout our lives, the breath is an involuntary bodily function. It happens without us even thinking about it. But with our yoga practice, the breath becomes a real focal point. And when you breathe deeply, it does a couple things. First off, it will very quickly relax your body and your mind if you breathe deeply over the course of time. But secondly, and just as important, when we focus on our breath, it really doesn't leave any room for other external thoughts to penetrate our mind. So it's a great way to keep us tethered to the present moment and to make our yoga practice a more meditative experience. So if you notice this morning your mind wandering at any point, see if you can focus back on your breathing and see if you can notice how it allows you to immediately move back into the moment. And so from here, as you take your next inhale, begin to rise up to a tabletop position. Place your hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips with a neutral spine. On your inhale, moving into a cow pose. Bring your gaze up, your chest up. Sitting bones are up, letting your belly hang low as if it were a hammock. Maintaining this first cow pose for just a moment or two more. Now on your exhale, moving to cat, rounding your back to the ceiling, pull your navel to your spine, bring your gaze perhaps down towards your knees. And again, this first cat pose will be held a little bit longer than the ones that are yet to come. And now with your breath, start to flow between those two poses. Next inhale, return to cow. Exhale, cats. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. Taking 2 more cycles. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Last one, inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Arriving back at our tabletop pose with the neutral spine, and begin to move into your first downward facing dog from here. So plant your palms and tuck your toes. Reach your hips back. And for me, that first down dog is just a way to kind of move your body a little bit and maybe pedal out the heels. And sometimes through movement, we can actually find our way to stillness a little bit easier. So once you've moved around a little bit, begin to cultivate some stillness and create some structure for the pose, plugging into your palms, activating your core, noticing how your breath is still deep and steady. And from this first downward facing dog, on your next inhale, lift your right leg high. As you exhale, step between your hands and we'll move into a runner's lunge. So release your left knee to the ground. Place both of your hands to the inside of your right foot. If you want to, you can move the right foot a little forward and a little bit outside. And you can also drop to your forearms. But try to be gentle with this first runner's lunge. It's early in the practice, early in the day. All we're looking to do is simply wake up our left hip flexor group of muscles here. We're not looking to give it a super deep stretch. If you did release onto your forearms, you can start to rise back up onto your hands. Now we'll all start to slide our right foot towards the center of our mats, and we'll see if we can ease ourselves into a gentle half splits. So keep your left knee on the ground still, but begin to send your hips to the back of the space as you straighten into your right leg. And see if you can feel the right hamstring group of muscles lengthen here as well. And again, we're not thinking about extreme depth. We're just thinking about a real gentle opening. Now with your breathing, I'd like to flow between these two poses. So on your next inhale, come forward back to your runner's lunge. As you exhale, reach your hips back for half splits. 2 more times. We'll inhale forward to runner's lunge. Exhale, reach your hips back, half splits. 1 more cycle. Inhale forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, reach it back, half splits. Inhale forward for the final time. Plant your palms. Tuck your left toes, send your right leg back for a 3-legged downward dog. Now, once you arrive here, see if you can gently open up your right hip. So drop your right heel towards your left shoulder blade. And if you like, you can move a little bit here, circling the ankle, maybe even circling the hip a little bit. On your next inhale, send the right leg high to the sky momentarily. On your exhale, set the right foot back into downward facing dog. And we'll get into the other side. Next inhale, lifting your left leg. Exhale, step between your hands. Take the runner's lunge on this side. So set your right knee on the mat. Hands are placed inside of your left foot. Feel free to reorient your left foot to whatever degree feels right to you. And you can stay on the hands or drop to your forearms for depth. And see if you can feel that right hip flexor group gently lengthening, gently opening. You spent a lot of time in a seated position yesterday. You may notice that the hip flexors are a little bit tighter today. And we'll work on creating some opening and awareness there. If you did release onto your forearms, start to rise back up onto your hands. Once you're there, we'll all slide the left foot towards the center of the mat, hands either side the left foot, and we'll make our way into our gentle half splits. Right knee remains on the mat as you ease your hips back. And just take a few moments here, feeling your left hamstring group of muscles lengthen and stretch. Now, as we did with the other side, we're going to work in a little bit of mobility here, flowing between these two poses. So on your next inhale, bring it forward back to runner's lunge. Exhale, reaching the hips back, half splits. 2 more. Inhale, forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, send the hips back, half splits. Last one. Inhale, forward, runner's lunge. Exhale, reach back, half splits. Inhale, forward, final time. Plant your palms, tuck your right toes. Reach the left leg back, three-legged dog. And as you arrive there, open the hip. Drop the heel to the right shoulder blade. Maintaining this position in stillness or with a little bit of movement. And on the inhale, lift your left leg high momentarily. On the exhale, set the foot back on the mat, downward facing dog. And from here, start to walk your hands back towards your feet so that you arrive in a ragdoll pose at the back of your yoga mat. So the feet are wide, hip width or more. You're folded at your hips. Let your upper body hang loose. And it's so important to let your knees bend to whatever depth feels right to you. And let's just hang loose here for a few moments. If you're feeling as though some movement might be beneficial, feel free to sway your upper body from side to side. Maybe consider loosening the head and neck a little as well. On your exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Start to toe heel your feet together. On your next inhale, come to a halfway lift. So a flat back, feel your core activated. On your exhale, come back to forward fold. We'll do that again. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold once more. And this inhale brings us up to mountain pose. Take your time. As you rise up to standing, extending both arms up overhead. And try to feel rooted in this mountain pose. Feel your feet grounded into the mat. Also feel some length here as well as the crown of your head is lifting towards the ceiling. Maintain this position for one more moment. On your exhale, place your hands together at your heart for standing at attention. Pausing here momentarily, taking 3 deep breaths on our own. Feel free to close your eyes. You're also welcome to set an intention at this moment, if that's part of your practice. Taking one more inhale. On the exhale, eyes open, arms drop down to your sides. With your next inhale, sweep the arms overhead, mountain pose. And then exhale, swan diving all the way down to forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the mat. Walk your hands forward as you come into high plank pose. Pausing here at the top of a push-up. Hands are beneath the shoulders in a position of power, up on the balls of the feet, pressing the yoga mat away from you. And while you hug your elbows tightly to your sides, exhale and come all the way down onto your belly. Once you arrive here, hands remain beneath the shoulders as you untuck your toes. We'll be taking 3 rounds of baby cobra. On your inhale, gently lift your head, shoulders, chest off the mat. Keep the hands on the ground for support. Stay up, taking one more inhale. Exhale, set yourself down. Pausing here at the bottom. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, finding baby cobra once again. Lift head, shoulders, chest. Hands are supporting. Remain up, taking one more inhale. Exhale, set it down. We have one more cycle. Pause here at the bottom. And when you're ready, next inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest. Hands on the mat for support. Take another inhale here. On the exhale, release it down. Tuck your toes back underneath as you inhale. Press up to high plank. And exhale to downward facing dog. So we'll be moving through our first flow of today's practice, our sun salutation A. Moving through it one breath per movement. So on your next exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, upward dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause here to inhale. As you exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, upward dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, upward dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause here to inhale. With your exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose one more time. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. And from mountain pose, as you exhale, ease your way into your first chair pose. So bend in your knees while you reach your hips back. Arms are above, palms facing each other. Remain in this first chair pose for one more inhale. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, upward dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift your right leg high. Now on the exhale, bring your knee towards your nose and let's hold here. And as you bring your knee towards your nose, also try to locate your shoulders so that they're above your hands, so that you're more in a position of power. On your next inhale, send the right leg high behind you. On your exhale, step between your hands. Inhale, rise to crescent lunge. Take your time coming into this first crescent lunge of the practice. Arms are above, core is engaged, pressing firmly into the ball of your left foot. Remaining here for another inhale. On the exhale, release the hands to the mat. Right foot steps back, high plank. Low plank, inhale, upward dog or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. With your inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, bring your knee towards your nose and we'll pause here. See if you can draw the knee maybe a little higher into the chest. Feel that core activation. On the inhale, send the left leg high behind you. On the exhale, step between your hands. Inhale, crescent lunge. And take as much time as you need to settle in and to create the variation of crescent lunge that you feel most supported in. And it might be as simple as widening the feet on your mat, or maybe pressing a little more firmly into the ball of your right foot. Remaining here, taking one more inhale. On the exhale, hands release down, left foot steps back, high plank. Low plank, inhale, up dog, or your transition. Exhale, downward facing dog. So that sequence will be today's second flow, our sun salutation B. We'll be moving through it one breath per movement as well. And just move at the pace of your breathing, even if it's not exactly matching my cues. So on your next exhale, step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale to chair pose. Remain in chair for one inhale. On the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale your right leg. Exhale your knee to your nose. Pause here. Inhale the leg back up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your left leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Pause here. Inhale the leg back up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. One more time. Inhale your right leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Pause here. Inhale the leg back up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your left leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Hold here. Inhale the leg high. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog or your transition. Exhale to down dog. Pause here for at least 3 deep rounds of breath. And maybe just take notice of your breath quality here. Has it diminished in any way during the flow? If it has, take some time to build it back up. Also, if you're feeling a little overheated, sometimes a couple rounds of breath with an open mouth sigh on the exhale can cool off your body from the inside out. Remaining here in down dog for one more full round of breath. And on your next inhale, lift your right leg high. As you exhale, step between your hands for a warrior two. So rising up to warrior two. And as you come up, maybe just noticing, really this is the first time we've gone into the hips so far today. So you might feel a little bit constricted here. And if you need to, you can move. Maybe it's as simple as straightening and bending the front knee to simply lubricate the joints a little bit. Once you've settled into your warrior two and you feel solid there, we'll be taking an extended side angle on the exhale. So drop the right forearm to the right thigh. Bring your left arm up and over. Now you can either remain here in this version of extended side angle, or if you'd like to take a half bind, you can wrap your left forearm to the small of your back. And if you chose the half bind and want to pursue a full bind, you can start to reach your right hand underneath you in an attempt to interlace your left and right fingers together. And if the hands don't meet, that's more than okay. And if you chose the full bind, begin to release it now. And on the inhale, we'll all come to a reverse warrior. Reach your right arm up and back. Maybe feeling a little stretch in the right rib cage region. And from reverse warrior, we'll be moving into half moon pose. So if you're moving, as though you're moving through slow motion or water, start to come forward with your torso until the right hand is on the ground or on top of your block. Left leg is floating off the mat. Left arm is reaching up above you. Imagine as though you're feeling like the shoulders are stacked on each other, as well as the hips stacked on each other. Bodies on one plane. Now from half moon pose, we'll be landing back in reverse warrior. So nice and easy, land the left foot, stick the landing, bring the right arm up and back. Pause here momentarily. On your exhale, cartwheel your hands top of your mat. Right foot steps back, high plank. Go through your flow or press directly to downward facing dog. Once you arrive back in down dog, let's get right into the other side of this sequence by inhaling the left leg up. Exhale, step between your hands. Inhale to warrior two. And again, take some time arriving here. Allow your hips to settle into the pose. Also, again, take stock of your breathing. How's it going? Where is it at? When you're ready from warrior two, extended side angle, left forearm, left thigh. Bring the right arm up and over. And again, remaining here as you are, or you can move into that half bind here as well. Right forearm wraps to the small of your back. And as with the other side, if you chose the half and want to pursue the full bind, left arm can reach beneath you, looking to interlace the hands together. And if the full bind was taken, begin to release here. And on the next inhale, we'll all reverse our warrior, reaching the left arm up and back. Staying here for one more inhale. On the exhale, half moon pose when you're ready. Coming forward with the upper body, launching onto the left foot. Left hand on the ground or on top of your block. Right leg is floating. Right arm is reaching towards the ceiling. And with control, we'll exit the pose by landing back in reverse warrior. Land the right foot, reach the left arm up and back. Take one inhale here. On the exhale, cascade your hands, top of your mat. Left foot steps back, high plank. Go through your flow or right back into downward facing dog. Now from downward facing dog, we'll get right into our next standing sequence. Inhale your right leg high. As you exhale, step between your hands for a low lunge. See if you can take a twist here. Keep your left hand on the mat and gently rotate your right arm up towards the ceiling. Nice and easy with the twist. Never forcing your way into the pose. Letting your body adjust, acclimate, and maybe find a deeper place. On your exhale, release your right hand back to the mat. On your inhale, rise to crescent lunge. Feeling hopefully pretty familiar here in crescent lunge. And once you've settled in, setting up for warrior 3. Bring your hands to your heart. And when you're ready, launch onto your right foot. Crown of the head is coming forward, sole of the left foot is reaching back. Hands are either together at the heart, or you can extend both arms forward with the palms facing each other. Now from this warrior 3 pose, moving into a standing splits. So you can release your hands to the ground in front of your right foot. Torso is parallel to the mat, or you can begin to fold deeper over the right leg. And finally, hands can stay on the ground for support, or for maximum intensity, you can wrap both of your hands around your right calf, so you're balancing solely on your right foot. And we'll exit the pose by landing the left foot directly next to the right into forward fold. On your inhale, halfway lift. With your exhale, fold again. Inhale, rise up to mountain pose. And on your exhale, sink into a chair pose. Bend your knees, reach your hips back. Once you've sunk to your depth in chair, we'll be moving into a prayer twist on the right. Place your hands at your heart. Activate your core and twist. Left elbow can rest between the knees for a gentle twist, or outside the right knee for a deeper one. Hands are either together at the heart, or your arms can open from ground to ceiling. Give it one more inhale. On the exhale, forward fold. Nice work. Take your feet hip width apart. With your knees slightly bent, reach down with your 2 peace fingers and wrap them around your big toes. And I encourage you just to be passive here. Let your upper body hang loose, being sure that the breath is still deep and steady. And letting your knees bend as deeply as they need to. And slowly release your big toes. On your inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the mat, step your feet back, high plank. Either go through your flow or press directly to downward facing dog. Once you're back in down dog, we'll get into the other side of this sequence, inhaling the left leg up. Exhale, step between your hands, low lunge, take your twist. Right hand on the mat, left arm rotates up above. Give it another moment here. On the exhale, release the left hand to the mat. On your inhale, rise up with strength into crescent lunge. Finding crescent lunge, getting solid and strengthened here. And when you're there, warrior three pose awaits us. Bring your hands to your heart, launching onto the left foot. Crown of the head is forward. Right foot is reaching, seeking the back of the room. Hands either stay at the heart or extend the arms forward. Releasing into standing splits here, hands to the ground in front of the left foot. Torso either stays parallel to the ground or folding deeper over the left leg. And as with the other side, hands can stay grounded for support, or both hands can wrap around your left thigh or left calf for a little bit more intensity. And slowly with control, land the right foot directly next to the left, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. And on your exhale, sink into one more chair pose. Bend your knees. Reach your hips back. Once you've found chair, we'll be prayer twisting left. Place your hands at the heart. Activate your core and twist. Right elbow between the knees or outside the left one. Hands are together or arms are open. And take 2 deep and controlled breaths, maintaining your twist. Taking one more inhale. On the exhale, forward fold. Nice work. Now from here, we'll be moving into crow pose arm balance. So when you're ready, bend your knees and come into a squat. And if you know where you're going with crow, feel free to dive in and get to it. If you're looking for some guidance or some tips, I'll be demoing here on the screen. For me, I like to start crow, big toes, heels together. Up on the balls of my feet, heels are off the mat. Knees are open, arms drop to the ground inside the knees. Hands are on the mat about shoulder width. If you can, place your knees high onto your triceps. And then from there, it's about setting a focal point with your gaze forward. So maybe bring your vision, 3 to 4 feet in front of you. Once you have your gaze set, start to shift your weight forward to follow that gaze. And it's a slow process. As you're going forward, feel the weight transfer from your feet onto your hands. And perhaps it transfers so much that you're able to float one or both of your feet up off the ground. And the important thing with these balancing poses, and really with all the poses, is just be satisfied moving at your pace. No matter where you ended up today in crow, that's a great place to be. And once you're done practicing, grab a drink, towel off, and we'll be meeting in a brief child's pose. And from child's pose, begin to move into downward facing dog once again. We have one more standing sequence left. After this one, we'll be on our mats the rest of the way. So let's see if we can finish strong with some energy. On the inhale, lift your right leg high. As you exhale, bring your knee towards your nose, hold here. Inhale the leg up. Exhale, knee to the right tricep, pause for a moment. Inhale the leg high. Exhale, knee to left tricep, optional push-up only if you want it. Inhale the leg final time. On the exhale, step between your hands for warrior two. Settling briefly into warrior two pose. And once you've arrived and settled, moving into a triangle pose. Begin to straighten the right leg, reaching the hips back. Extend your upper body and right fingertips forward. Eventually release the right hand to your shin or your thigh, while the left arm is stacked up above. Now from triangle pose, as you inhale, bring your torso back up to vertical. Pivot the right toes to the left side of the room. Place your hands upon your hips. Moving into Prasarita pose. On your inhale, lift your chest up slightly. On your exhale, spine as long as you fold at your hips. Hands are releasing to the mat as you get close. And take these first few moments of Prasarita just to customize it so it feels more at home to you. For some, that may mean deepening the pose by widening your feet and maybe walking your hands further behind you. That'll lengthen the hamstrings and inner thighs. If you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable or overwhelmed, you can bend your knees slightly to perhaps make it a little more comfortable. And finally, the hands can be placed either on the ground, the tops of your feet, or even at the backs of your calves. So really, wherever they feel correct. And let's take 2 more deep breaths here. Noticing the calm-inducing elements of this pose. And if they're not there already, place your hands back upon the ground. Pivoting your toes to the front of the room, walk your hands to the top of your mat, step your right foot back into high plank pose, and either go through your flow or move directly to downward facing dog. As you arrive back in down dog, final side of this final standing sequence, on the inhale, the left leg will lift. Exhale, knee to nose, hold for a moment. Inhale the leg high. Exhale, knee left tricep, pausing here. Inhale the leg up. Exhale, knee right tricep, optional push-up once again. Inhale the leg final time. On the exhale, step between your hands, warrior 2. So coming into warrior 2 momentarily, and then moving right into triangle when you're ready. Left leg straightens, hips reach back. Extend the left fingertips forward, then release the left hand. Rotate the right arm up. And we'll take a few deep and controlled breaths in the pose. On the inhale, rise up. This time we're pivoting the left toes to the right side of the room for another Prasarita. You can take it as we did before, or if you want to rinse out the chest and upper back and shoulders, start with the hands interlaced at the small of your back. On the inhale, lift the chest. On the exhale, spine long as you fold at your hips. And if you started the pose with your hands at the small of your back, see if you can reach your clasped hands a little higher up towards the ceiling. Noticing the opening created in the upper back and shoulders. Taking 2 more deep breaths here. On your exhale, release your hands to the mat. Pivot your toes forward. Walk your hands to the top of your mat. Step your left foot back to high plank. Pausing here to your count of 5 Fast or slow, come all the way down onto the ground. Once you arrive upon your mat, we're coming right into our first back bend, which will be a cobra. Chin remains on the mat, hands are beneath the shoulders, toes are untucked with the feet zipped together. On your inhale, lift your head, shoulders, and chest off the ground. Hands can stay grounded for support, or you can hover the palms off of the mat as well. Try to remain where you are for 2 more deep breaths, knowing you can exit any pose at any point of your choosing if you need to. If you're with me, take another inhale. On the exhale, release to the ground. Rest your left cheek on the mat. Let your arms go long by your sides, flip your palms face up, and take 2 breaths right here, doing as little as you possibly can. Just being at rest and at ease. Now next, we'll be moving into a full locust pose. So bring your chin back to the mat. Leave your arms by your sides, flipping your palms face down. On your inhale, lift whatever you can up off the ground. Begin by lifting your head, shoulders, chest, adding in the hands and the arms. And if it's available, lift your legs and float them off the mat too. And while you're up, let's see if we can stay here for another 2 deep breaths. Give it 1 more inhale. On the exhale, release down. Great work. Place your right cheek on the ground. Leave your arms by your sides. Flip your palms up. And grab another 2 deep breaths right here. Seeing if you can disengage as many muscle groups as you can, allowing your body to rest heavily upon your yoga mat. Next, we'll be taking an option of either another locust or perhaps a bow pose, your choice. If you're taking bow, chin to the mat, bend both knees, reach back, capture the tops of the feet or your ankles. And on your inhale, lift head, shoulders, chest off the ground. If you're taking another locust, chin comes on the mat, palms facing down, and lift whatever you can off the mat. Whichever option you chose, try to remain with it for another 2 breaths. Stay steady, we're almost there. Give it 1 more inhale. On the exhale, release. Great work. Place your left cheek on the mat. Arms by your sides, palms face up. And take another 2 deep breaths right here. And our last belly pose will be a gentle and supported back bend known as Sphinx pose. So place your chin on the mat, palms and forearms to the ground, elbows beneath the shoulders. Lift your head, shoulders, and chest off the mat by pressing into your forearms. But make sure that your hips are firmly rooted and grounded into the mat. So this pose is supported not only by our forearms, but also by our hips. Rising up to your height. Just feeling that gentle bend in the lumbar spine. And take about 2 or 3 breaths right here. Now before you release back down to your mat, as you come down, also draw your torso forward with your forearms to keep a long spine. So on the exhale, come down, keeping the spine lengthened. Once you're down, rest your right cheek on the mat, arms by your sides, palms up. And very briefly bend each of your knees and give a slow windshield wiper of the legs from side to side. Releasing the legs back to the mat. Place your hands beneath your shoulders and gently press back into a child's pose. And just take a few breaths here. And from child's pose, moving into your final downward facing dog today. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, reach your hips back. And from downward facing dog on your next exhale, slowly step to the top of your mat, all the way through onto your seat, eventually arriving onto your back. We'll be taking one bridge pose. So arms are by your sides, palms down, both knees are bent with the heels pulled behind your seat. When you're ready, on your inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips off the ground. And we'll be here in bridge for 3 or 4 deep breaths. And on the exhale, slowly release the hips back to the mat. Once you're on the ground, give the knees a windshield wiper from side to side. And bringing the knees back to the center. For our hip opener today will be a supine pigeon. We'll begin on the right by the right ankle crossing over the left thigh. And take a moment to evaluate how you feel. If you feel like this is deep enough, then go no further, stay here. To add more depth, you can wrap both hands behind your left thigh and slowly draw the left leg towards you to get into the intensity level you're looking for. But once you reach your place, pause here and take 4 or 5 rounds of breath. Now, if the left foot was lifted, you can slowly release it back to the ground. Uncross your right ankle, set your right foot down. We'll take supine pigeon on the other side, left ankle crossing right knee or thigh. As with the other side, stay here if it's deep enough for you. Otherwise, hands gather behind the right thigh as you incrementally draw the right leg towards you to find your place. And again, settle in for 4 or 5 breaths in the pose. If the right foot was lifted, slowly release it back to the mat. Uncross your left ankle, set your left foot down. And before we rest today, we'll finish with a supine twist. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Let your arms drop to the sides like you're making a capital letter T. And slowly drop the knees and hips to the right. As you drop the knees to the right, notice that it's okay if that causes your left shoulder blade to slightly lift off the mat. Don't feel like you have to have that anchored. And finally, the gaze can be straight up at the ceiling, or you can look slightly to the left, as long as that's agreeable to your neck. And slowly bring the knees back to the center. And just as slowly drop them off to the left, looking up or slightly to the right. And at last, the knees return to the center. Momentarily wrap both arms around your shins and just give yourself a little hug here. Squeeze yourself into a ball. Take a final deep inhale for a moment. And as you exhale, release everything. Legs go long out in front of you. Arms are resting by your sides, palms facing up. Settling into this final and very well-deserved resting pose, Shavasana. And slowly start to awaken yourself. Moving your fingertips and your toes. And on a long inhale, gently extend both of your arms towards the back of your space. Maybe taking time for a brief full body stretch. And begin to bend each of your knees as you pull your heels close behind your seat. And take your time as you roll onto your right side. Pausing here momentarily. And once you feel complete, eyes remain closed as you rise to a comfortable and cross-legged seat, your palms coming together at your heart. Closing our practice this morning by sending gratitude to ourselves and also sending gratitude to our fellow practitioners. Bowing forward. Namaste.